Welcome back everyone to the last video in this series, at least for season 1, where I track changes between the Shadow and Bone TV show and the books on an episode by episode basis. If you'd like to see the changes I highlighted in episodes 1 through 7, do check out my Shadow and Bone playlist. Like I stated in the previous episodes, everything that happens between Nina and Matthias from their first meeting all the way to the end is mentioned by Nina when she's narrating the story to us. The show, however, actually goes the extra mile to show us how they go from enemies to friends and the start of lovers, until Freddy shows up to rescue Nina, which is when he offers her a choice: hand Matthias over to be questioned, tortured, and eventually killed by the Darkling, or be branded a traitor. Nina takes option 3 and sells out Matthias to a bounty hunter who's been on the hunt for Droskele. In the books, all we know is that Nina handed Matthias over to some bounty hunters when she runs into other Grisha and didn't want to be branded a traitor. This difference in the show has her actually choosing to be branded a traitor in order to save his life. In the show, Nina and Matthias reach Akes, which is the portside town, where they decide to go their separate ways after indulging in some waffles, which had me screaming, finally, by the way, because Nina Zenik is not Nina Zenik without her waffles, and I know prisoners aren't fed decadent breakfast pastries when they're in chains or when they're on the run, but still, I wanted those waffles, damn it. Can't believe we had to wait 8 whole episodes to see her eat them. Anyway, the plan is to indulge in some waffles. Akes is where they are at when Nina, in order to save Matthias, hands him over to a bounty hunter as a slaver. This is a bit different from the books, as in the books, Nina and Matthias are in Erling, which is off the coast of Fieda, when she runs into other Grisha and has Matthias branded as a slaver and captured. Although Kaz and the Crows cross paths with certain characters later in the books, Mal isn't one of those characters. Having all of them united to stop Kirigan and save Alina is purely show canon, and it works out well. Just as in the books, Zoya's family is in Novokirbisk, and just like in the books, the Darkling extends the folds to engulf the entire town, killing everyone in it. However, Zoya in the books wasn't present to witness it happen. She hears secondhand about the death of her family. Having her witness the horror in the show helps her add further to the vengeance that drives and motivates her character. Needless to say, there is no scene in the books where both Zoya and Inej are on a skiff, with Inej seconds away from being killed by a heartrender until Zoya steps in to save her, nor is there a scene of Inej in turn saving Zoya from the Volcra, or Kaz saving Inej from the Volcra, or Jesper saving Alina from Ivan. All of this happens only in the show. Inej throwing a dagger in an attempt to kill the Darkling didn't happen in the books, and Zoya betraying him on the skiff by using her squalor power to drive the skiff out of Novokirbisk didn't happen in the books either. In the show, Alina has a moment when Morozova's stag comes to meet her on the skiff, shining its light on her and directing her gaze to Inej's knife that she had thrown at the Darkling earlier in the episode. It is this knife that Alina grabs and plunges into the Darkling's hand, yanking out the piece of the stag that he had been using to control her power, thereby breaking his hold on her. In the books, however, there is no magical appearance. Alina realizes on her own that the power of the stag can't be taken, only given, and that in showing the stag mercy when she could have killed it, it chose to give her its power. In the show, however, Alina makes a line about how the stag chose her when the Darkling asks her how she could control such power, but this response loses a bit of its weight because the piece of the stag was removed first before she made that statement. If the piece of the stag had remained in the Darkling, Alina was still able to take control of her power to make that much stronger. In the books, the Darkling has Ivan toss Mal overboard to be killed by the Volcra. In the show, Mal grabs the Darkling and tosses the both of them overboard for their showdown, where they proceed to tussle, with Volcra flying ahead until the Darkling is seemingly grabbed by a Volcra. Like I stated earlier, Jesper saves Alina from being killed by a pretty miffed Ivan, who was angry that she spat the Darkling's goodwill in his face. I personally think that boy was half in love with the Darkling at this point. Anyway, Ivan tries killing Alina. Jesper shoots him off the skiff. We aren't sure if he survives the fold because we don't see Ivan at the end when the Darkling walks away from the fold, but if he's dead, however, that is a marked change from the books, where Ivan is killed by another heartrender we haven't met yet, on a certain ship we haven't met yet, following a certain captain we haven't met yet. It gives Jesper more to do in the series, yes, but personally I much prefer the way Ivan's annoying ass was killed in the books. Also in the books, when Alina and the Darkling face off, she uses the light version of the cut to split the skiff in two and leaves everyone on board as she escapes with Mal. In the show, she does not use the cut, which is sad because her light cut is pretty nifty, but anyway, she does not use the cut. Other than the Darkling, the Heartrender who almost killed Inej, and Ivan who was so angry that Alina didn't take the Darkling up on his offer to control her for the rest of their immortal lives that he tried killing her and was instead shot off the skiff by Jesper, everyone else with the help of Alina is able to safely make it over to the other side. What this means though is that unlike the books, where Alina felt guilty sometimes for the people she left on the skiff, this change spares her that anguish. After Inej pledges her allegiance and hand to Alina, a newly found saint, she's beyond thrilled when Alina gifts her with a knife to to replace the one that she used to dig out the piece of stag out of the Darkling. Inej is obviously through the roof, and although this doesn't happen in the books, Inej does call one of her blades, her favorite actually, Sancta Alina, which is a really cool way to tie in Alina and Inej and Alina and Inej's knives. Not only is Alina's headpiece pawned off to buy Kaz's and the rest of the crows silent about her and Mal's whereabouts, although let's be honest, it's primarily Kaz because Inej and Jesper wouldn't have said a word. This headpiece is not only used to buy Alina's freedom, it's also used to pay off Inej's contract to Helene and buy Inej her own freedom. The use of the jewels to escape is something that happened in the books as well. However, I would like to point out that in the books, Kaz is able to get Inej's freedom by having Pa Askel, the figurehead leader of the Dregs, which is Kaz's gangs of course, pay off Inej's indenture to Helene. In the books, Zoya and Alina don't stay enemies for long, especially when they have a new joint enemy in the Darkling, but it takes a little while before Zoya is reunited with Alina's party. Having this happen immediately after they cross the fold is a show change only. The same applies to Zoya's advice to Alina to stay away from Ravka and the Apparat, who would be looking for a way to consolidate his power, and her telling Alina to find new allies and urging her to stay alive. None of this happens in the books as a conversation between Zoya and Alina, but it all works. Finally, Kaz's "she doesn't need you, I need you" to Inej saying that she should go after Alina to help protect her is show only, and further helps flesh out his relationship with Inej and all the little things he wants to say and can't, all the little ways he tells her he loves her without actually telling her he loves her. It's a push and pull they do in the books that is represented in the show in its own way.